Welcome to Gentle Restorative. My name is Sandra, and I invite you to close your eyes and just notice what you feel. Notice what you hear. Notice what you smell. Don't notice what you can see because I told you to close your eyes. Notice what you might taste. And then can you notice all of those simultaneously? Is that easy? Is that hard? All right, now take a deep breath in through the nose. Loud exhale through the mouth. Inhale the arms up. And exhale the hands back home to the heart, Anjali Mudra. Pausing here to set your intention for your practice. And then release the hands. So you can either take the right forearm onto the right knee, or you could use your block if you want to, set it up high. You could also rest the block on the right knee. We're going to inhale that left arm up and then take a side bend over. So in this class, what we're talking about is Pratyahara. It is a Sanskrit word that means withdrawal of the senses. And in Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga, this would be number 5. Asana, what we're doing right now, the poses, that's number 3. Go ahead, come back up. Rest that left forearm on the left knee or a block. Inhale the right arm. Take that side bend to the left. So the word is Pratyahara. Ahara literally means food. And prati means going away. Come back to center. Inhale the arms. And offer them to the heart. So let's think about, when we eat food, we're taking something externally and we're bringing it inside, right? And sometimes those food items, I'm not saying all the time, and I'm not calling out names, I'm just saying that sometimes those choices might not be super healthy. So the idea of Pratyahara, of moving away from food, is going within, right? Kind of shielding yourself from your senses so that we're not distracted. And we're going to kind of work on that through our sequence tonight. Take the arms back up. Exhale to the heart. Right arm reaching across to the left. Stretch it out. Go ahead and switch arms. And then release that arm and go ahead and grab your block. You might want both of them if you have 2 of them. Put it out in front of you and slowly come on down. Let's rest the forehead right on that prop. If there's no way the forehead is touching that block, maybe the bolster might work out better. You can, of course, make any changes you want to. You can tip that bolster in towards you so that you can prop up right here. Yeah. And if you don't have any props that are tall enough, no dog is wandering by to rest your head on, then just let the hands come forward and just drop the head. So this quote is from the Bhagavad Gita. Just as a tortoise withdraws its limbs So when a man withdraws his senses from the sense objects, his wisdom becomes steady. So with the turtle example, the limbs would be the senses, right? And by pulling them in towards the mind, we go within and we can exclude ourselves from everything the brain has to say about what it's interpreting through the senses. I hope that makes sense. Take a deep breath here. Well, now we can hear some things. You probably can hear the dogs in the background. Go ahead and make your way back up. And then let's go ahead and, I need to move my props aside here for a second. Grab your strap, but we're coming down onto our back. So just have that nearby. All right, let's go ahead and catch that right foot in the strap, send that leg up to the ceiling, and straighten out the left leg. We're flexing both feet, both legs feel active. If you're not feeling a stretch in that right leg, draw the leg in closer. Couple of breaths here. So when we're thinking about withdrawing from the senses, the reason we want to do that is, well, let me put it this way. We talk an awful lot about going within, right? To our inner truth, to our Atman, right? The theory of the Atman, or that higher truth or inner self, cannot be detected through one of your senses, can it? You can't taste it, you can't smell it, you can't hear it. It's just there, but the senses can't get to it. Go ahead and slowly switch legs. Therefore, it makes it a very difficult and unlikely path to connect with that Atman, or inner self, if we do not bypass and withdraw from the senses. And if you're a visual learner, you could almost picture this as you, your physical self, are standing on the left, and your Atman, your inner self, is all the way over here on the right, and in the middle are your five senses. And since none of the senses can detect that inner self, it's almost as though they create a shield. And so we strive to get beyond all the senses so that we can go within, right? Go ahead, release that strap, release the leg. Stretch both legs out for a moment. There we go. And then go ahead and reach the arms up to the ceiling, lift the shoulders far away from the earth. And then plug the shoulders back in. Perfect. I'm going to bend at the elbows so the forearms become parallel to the ground. And from here, we're coming into eagle with the arms, Garudasana. So let's take the right arm underneath the left. And then I'm just going to let my hands gently come down until they rest on my forehead. Perfect. Breathe. So you should still be able to feel how the shoulders are rounding out a little bit. Couple of deep breaths. Strong inhale. When you get to your exhale, unravel the arms, stretch them up to the ceiling, lift the shoulders away from the ground, and then slowly plug them back in. Bend at the elbows, bringing the forearms down towards you. Left arm underneath the right, Garudasana. And then again, you can let the hands gently drop down to rest on your head. Deep inhale. As you exhale, untangle, stretch the arms back up, and then let's plug them back in, just the shoulders, and then lower the arms overhead. Take it really slowly here. I want you to notice when the arms touch down, do the shoulders still feel plugged in? Or do they feel like, no, they lengthened out, they created more space? Well, then in that case, will you just draw them back in a little bit? Perfect. Now lengthening out through the feet. Big stretch. And as you exhale, we're hugging the knees into the heart. From here, let's go ahead and drop the arms into scarecrow and let the knees come on down to the left. So remembering that the whole point of the poses, the asana, is just to distract the mind so that we can enter into a calmer space. Imagine if, well, I know you're going to challenge me on this, but imagine if we just dropped straight into Shavasana the moment we started class. For the majority of people, it would be very difficult to just settle the mind immediately. It's thinking, it's wondering why we're not doing any poses. It's more agitated. The poses prior to Shavasana calm us down, right? And so it's the same with Pratyahara. We need the poses. We need some movement. We need some breath work to help us focus inwardly and let go of our attachment to what we're feeling, hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, right? All right, let's take the knees to the other side. Embrace a couple more breaths. Appreciate them, enjoy them. And then let's come back to center. Release the feet down to the earth. We'll keep the knees bent here. And then we're bringing the arms back down alongside the body. So prepping for bridge. We're going to lift the hips up when you're ready. Feel the back of the neck lengthen as it kind of slides down towards the mat, right? I want you to be conscious of your feet on the earth. Can you feel the soles of your feet evenly pressing down into your mat? This is a pretty balanced pose, so, I'd be a little surprised if you were wobbling around and you felt your weight shifting or you felt off balance here. But just notice the sensation of the feet against the mat. Deep inhale. Exhale, slowly lower down. Go ahead and grab your block. And let's come into supported bridge. If you don't have a block, anything will work. Just lift the hips up, slide something underneath your sacrum. And release into balance. So as always in this pose, you should be happy with the height of the hips. I put the block on your mind at a medium height, but if you'd be happier with yours at its lowest height, that's where you've already should have put it, right? At its tallest height, I know I wouldn't be fabulously comfortable. I wouldn't feel restorative, so I don't want to go there, but if you do, you can. If you want to, you can take the feet wide and drop the knees towards each other. If you are happy with where they were, stay there. And then as a whole nother option, you could straighten out the legs. Either way, close your eyes, take a deep inhale, hold that breath, And then let it go. And just allowing the weight of the sacrum and the hips to release down into whatever prop you have underneath you. Consciously letting go. You might choose to focus on the sensation that you can feel. And I want you to notice that with your eyes closed, perhaps your sense of hearing seems a little bit more attuned. How on earth can we block out all 5 senses? Yes, I'm going to leave that question dangling right there in front of you. So while we're hanging out right here, I want you to think about Pratyahara in this way. Let's say we're outside and maybe we hear this tiny meow and immediately our ears are saying there's a kitten nearby, right? And then maybe because we heard the kitten, our mind says, well, let's look for the kitten. So we start looking around because, of course, we're listening to the mind, right? And maybe we spot it. So now we are no longer focused on our hearing. We're focused on our sight, right? And then once we have that really cuddly, fluffy kitten in sight, maybe the mind says, oh, we should pet that kitten, right? And so, and of course, again, we are just trailing behind the mind, following it, doing whatever it tells us, switching from the sense of sight to the sense of touch as we reach out to feel the softness of this kitten, right? So the mind is a vagabond. How many vagabonds have you just aimlessly followed, right? Can you even count one? I don't know. The point is, we follow the mind wherever it wants to take us. It is getting its information from our senses, and it is jumping all over the place to determine what we should do next. So if the mind is a vagabond, we are going to have to find a way to not follow it into every tangent. If you straightened out the legs, go ahead and rebend them here for a moment. I want you to take a deep breath in. Let it go. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Relax. How many things could you think about and focus on while we were breathing? Right? That's what makes pranayama, your breath work, such a great tool to distract the mind. It gives it something that you want it to focus on, not what it's telling us to focus on. And so using the breath as a tool is a great way to withdraw from the senses. All right, when you're ready, go ahead, slowly lift the hips up, slide your prop out from underneath you, and gently return back to earth. Hug the knees in, rock it out. Perfect. Go ahead and roll to a side in a fetal position. Stay there for 3 breaths. Focus on those breaths. And when you're done, come on back up. I'll meet you in table. Take your time. So once you get into table, let's just sway from side to side, lengthening the side ribs. Speaking of foods that aren't so healthy for you, my other analogy that popped into my head was, like let's say that, let's say we walk into a bakery, and perhaps the first thing you see is an eclair. I love eclairs. I love the custard filling. I'm probably going to stay fixated on that eclair, but because my eyes are telling my brain how much I love and want that eclair, I might not notice what else is in the window. I like Napoleons. Those are good too. I like cupcakes. Those are good too. But I'm missing a lot because my senses are directing my mind, right? Or, boy, you can see where my train of thought is. You walk into Fannie Mae and you see the milk caramels, but they stop you from seeing the Trinidad's. You get my point, right? Let's find cat cow. I promise you, I have not been eating chocolate all day. That could be the problem. Keep going. Okay, when you're ready, let's come back to table. If you have blocks, I'd like you to grab them. If you do not have blocks, do not worry about it. Let's bring them out, medium height. The hands right up on top. As long as you feel balanced here. If you don't, bring the hands to the earth first. We're going to get that right leg out in front of us for a low lunge. So you decide how you feel balanced on those blocks. But the blocks are going to give us some space here. It should be an easier lunge to be in. All right, once you're here, I want you to think about this. We've already missed out on seeing the Napoleons and the cupcakes and the brownies. We've missed out on seeing the Trinidad's. If our senses can distract us in that way, how much do you think we missed out on today? Like, I'm waiting for you guys to respond, right? I'd love to hear your responses, actually. So if you take that analogy to heart, we missed out on a lot. And we don't even know what we missed out on because we were so focused on something else, right? So Pratyahara, learning to withdraw from the senses. All right, what I want you to do here is take your focus to the hips, maybe to the inner thighs, it might be to the groin. Notice what you're feeling and where you're feeling it. Are you safe to just relax the hips a little bit more? Just soften. Deepen the breath. And then push into your blocks to make the hips go backwards, then they don't have to do the work, right? We'll straighten out this front leg. You decide if you want to keep the sole of the foot flat or if you would prefer to come on to your heel. Totally up to you. Deep inhale. Let it go. And then if you feel balanced here, well, let's call this option A. Option B, I'm just going to take my right hand and slowly reach it up towards the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, bring that arm back down to the safety of the block. And then draw that right leg back in towards table. Perfect. Left leg, send it out in front of you for a little lunge. Again, come off the blocks if you feel more balanced first. Settle into your space. This time, close your eyes. So obviously it's very easy for us to cut off the sense of sight. We just have to close our eyes, right? We're going to have to figure out how we tune everything else out, because if the mind is so powerful at deciding what it wants us to notice, what it wants us to focus, and then in effect causing us to miss out on a lot of detail, does it make sense how the senses stop us from making that connection with our inner self? That's why we sit down and we try to meditate, right? And when we feel like we aren't meditating well, it usually is because of the senses chiming in. I have an itch on my leg, I hear an annoying bird outside, whatever it is. Or it's the sense of, I'm not comfortable, my back is not happy here. We have to learn how to tune that out, right? And often it's by focusing on something else, like the breath. All right, take your focus again to the muscles that are being stretched here. Do you feel safe enough to just drop down a teeny bit more? Stay with the deep breath. Option A is right here. If you feel, wobbly or off balance, make option A your choice. Option B, let's take that left arm, reach it all the way up towards the ceiling. Big inhale. Exhale that arm slowly down to find its block. And then we're pushing our hands into the blocks to move the hips backwards, straightening out that front leg, and again deciding, do you like the foot flat? For me, that's a pretty intense stretch on the top of the ankle. I'm not really so fond of that. I usually go to my heel, and that's a personal choice, so you guys decide. Breathe. And then again, because I took your arm up too early, send that left arm up here, which probably seems a little easier. Big inhale. And release it down. Fabulous. Bring that leg back in towards the table. Let's set the blocks out of our way for a moment. And then once you're in table, what I want you to do is flip the left hand over. So the top of the hand is on the ground. Fingers are aiming at your left knee. Gentle weight into that wrist. Breathe. And then when you're ready to lift that hand up, don't set it down right away. Give it a moment. Rotate the wrist in both directions and then set it back down. Give the right hand a turn, flip that hand over. And if the wrists are a little tired from all this attention, don't worry, child's pose is next. They're going to get a break. Okay, take the weight off the back of that right hand, rotate the wrist. And then when you're ready, let's take it to Balasana, child's pose. Grab any props that make you happy or come on straight down. Now, you probably have already closed your eyes, which I would like you to do if you haven't. I want you to take your focus to your breath, but what I want you to notice about the breath is how much you can hear it, right? We're breathing right into the mat. That sound is echoing back up at us or reflecting back at us, so the breath should sound louder. Try that out. I have another quote for you. This is by Swami Satchidananda. He says, the senses are like a mirror. Turned outward, they reflect the outside. Turned inward, they reflect pure light. Right? Our senses, as Swami says, that mirror is, looking outward because that's what our senses are doing. They are kind of like little tentacles reaching out to grab onto information, right? I'm assuming you heard my dogs earlier. You know, my ears immediately gravitate to that. I know what they're barking at, right? And so now all this information is coming into me relative to my experience and my history with the dogs. Same with you. And that's a lot of stuff coming in that we don't often tune out. Yeah. And so I want you to visualize with your eyes being closed that maybe your child's pose is being done gently over a beautiful mirror. Your own inner truth, inner light, inner energy being reflected right back at you. Nothing in between, no shield, nothing to stop it. I want you to feel and embrace that connection. So, if your child's pose is right on the ground, you're just going to walk the hands to the left in twisted child's pose. If you are perched on your bolster, you could move it over with you so that it's still out in front of that left knee and you can rest on it. If you have other props in your way, either set them aside or figure out how you can incorporate them into moving to the left. And then, yeah, you probably can't see this. I think my hands are cut off in the picture, but what I want you to do, I'm going to move over. What I want you to do is you're stretching out, spread the fingers super wide, and then lift the wrists up into the air. I want you to get a good stretch here. And then take it back through center and all the way to the right. Same thing, once you get comfortable, fingers spread wide, lift the wrists into the air, get a good stretch. And then take it back through center, walk the hands in towards you. Let's bring the knees in closer, sit back under the heels for just a moment. Of course, if this isn't good for you, come off of the feet and just skip this next part, right? All we're going to do here is tuck the toes and sit back on the heels into broken toe pose. I'd prefer you not actually break one. But if you're paying attention to the senses, you'll know if you need to move, right? And so this theory is that if we're able to detach from our senses and stop the mind from following each one, we might actually not miss out on anything. Take a deep breath here. Let it go. Good job. Bring the hands back to the earth. Untuck the toes. Slide the hands back behind you. Lift the heart. Lift the knees. So now we're stretching the front of the ankles. If this does not make you happy, don't do it, right? And then set the shins and the knees back down. One more here. Option A, you can just stay right here. Option B, can you lift the hips up at all? You know we're doing a restorative pose next, right? Okay, slowly drop the hips, sit back up. I need my bolster, so do you. Of course, if you're using something else in place of a bolster, that's perfectly fine. Just bring it down in front of you, right across the mat, and get your hips right on top as you release down. Make a pillow for your head with your hands and close your eyes. So I wanted to share this, well, it's a quote, but it's a translation from the Yoga Sutras, translated by Jessica Char. The restraint of the senses occurs when the mind is able to remain in its chosen direction, and the senses disregard the different objects around them to faithfully follow the direction of the mind. Then the senses are mastered. And so some of the techniques that we can use to learn how to practice Pratyahara would be our breath work, or it would be focusing on a point in the body. So while you're in the restorative pose that I left you in, I want you to take your focus to Ajna, the third eye chakra, right between the eyebrows. I want you to focus intently on that spot, as if it is the only part of your body that you are even aware of. Stay with that point. Soften the muscles in the face. If your head is turned to one side, turn it to the other. Relax the forehead, relax the temples. Soften the cheeks, soften the jaw. Just focusing on the space between the eyebrows, the third eye. And with a deep breath in, we're going to let that go on the exhale. Let go of the focus. And then will you slide your hands underneath your shoulders, palms to the mat. We're going to just slowly lift up. You stop whenever you want to. Just finding a supported cobra, so we might hang out down here. That's totally fine. Listen to your back. So in the asana, right, the third limb of yoga, we need to focus on sensation. If you are not focusing on that, you're not hearing what your body's telling you. You don't know when to stop, right? But once we get beyond the asana, then we can figure out how to withdraw. Big inhale. Exhale, slowly release down. Take the hands out a little bit farther, at least the width of the mat, and then come on up. You could add some movement here. And then when you get to your next exhale, let's release back down. Slide the hands back in so that you can push your way up. And we're coming back to a seated position. If you want to, you can sit up on the edge of your bolster if that makes you happy, or you can just stay on the ground. But take your favorite seated pose. And just close your eyes. So I wanted to share with you a mudra. Remember, a mudra is a pose for the hands, and each mudra has meaning behind it, right? So this one is called Yoni Mudra. It's an attempt to draw your focus to each of the senses in a kind of a unique way. So what I want you to do is open your eyes so you can see me. I want you to take your thumbs to your temples. Or not to your temples, what am I saying? To your ears. But don't push, you won't be able to hear me. We're not blocking out senses. We're just drawing our focus to where they're stemming from, right? So I don't want you to push on the ears. I don't want you to push on the eyes or the nose. Just telling you where to put your fingers gently, okay? Thumbs on the ears. First two fingers softly rest on the eyes. I am not pushing on them, just softly acknowledging them. The ring fingers rest on either side of each nostril without pushing. This is not like alternate nostril breathing. We are not closing off the nose. You can still breathe through it, okay? We're just setting the fingers there. And then the pinkies are going to come to the corners of the mouth. So this mudra is acknowledging sound, sight, smell, taste, and touch. Now focus on your breath. Strong inhale. As you exhale, release the hands back down. Just stay right there for a moment. What do you notice? For me, I notice I feel really calm. Everything seems ultra quiet. We're going to draw the shoulders up toward the ears. Hold it. Take them back and down. Right ear to the right shoulder. Hold it there. Bring the head through center, dropping the left ear to the left shoulder. As the head comes back to center, left hand reaches for the right knee, right hand behind you. Inhale, find your length. Exhale, twist to the right. Now stay as you are. Keep that left hand hanging onto the right knee. That's going to be your support. I want to let go of the earth with my right hand. I'm just going to inhale, take that arm all the way up towards the ceiling. And perhaps we stay right here, or you could start pulling away from that right knee and just tip backwards a little bit. And then we're coming right back to center. Deep inhale. Loud exhale. Right hand to the left knee. Left hand behind you. Find your length. Exhale into your twist. Hold the twist. Hang on to that left knee. Release the ground behind you. Inhale that left arm up. And decide if you want to pull away from the left knee and reach back. Big inhale. Exhale will help you find center. Close your eyes. Inhale the arms up. Exhale to the heart. And as you release the hands, I want you to grab the props that you want for Shavasana. Set it up, but don't pass out on me yet. We're not quite there, but I want you in position. So whatever that means to you, I'll give you a second to get into your special space. You know, think about Shavasana for a moment. Corpse pose. How different is Shavasana when we plop down and we decide to think through it? Sort out stuff, decide what's happening later, versus a Shavasana where we consciously lay down and we practice this idea of Pratyahara and releasing the senses and tuning inward. So, which one do you want for you? All right, I'm assuming that you're comfortable right now. Close your eyes. On your inhale, I want you to take your focus to your toes, as though you were bringing all of your energy into your toes. And when you exhale, release that. And then I want you to take your attention to your ankles. Inhale, energy into the ankles. Exhale, let it go. Taking your focus to either your shins or the calves. Inhaling into that area of the body. Exhaling, letting it all go. Taking your focus to your knees. Inhale, energy into the knees. Exhale, release it. Slide your focus up into the thighs. Inhale energy into that space. As you exhale, let it go. And focusing on the hips. Inhaling the breath into the hips. Exhale, let that space relax, soften. Taking your focus to your navel, inhale energy into that space. As you exhale, let it go. Take your focus to the center of the heart space or the heart chakra. Inhale energy into that space. Exhale, let it go. Take your focus into your fingers. Inhale your breath and your energy, your prana into the fingers. Exhale. They soften, they relax, they let go. Take your focus to the center of each palm. Inhale into that space. Exhale, let it go. Take your focus into each wrist. Inhale energy into the wrists. Exhale, let it go. Slide your focus up to the middle of the forearm. Inhale there. Exhale, relax. To your elbows. Inhale into the elbows. Exhale, relax. Taking your focus into the biceps. Breathe into that space. And let it go. And then to the shoulders, the weight-bearing shoulders. Deep inhale into that space, bringing energy. Exhale, let the shoulders soften, melt down towards the earth. Take your focus to the back of your neck. Inhale there. Exhale, relax. And then bringing your focus, your attention into the head. I want you to soften the forehead. Do it again. If you're not sure if you've softened those muscles, bring the eyebrows up as high as you can get them, and then slowly drop them back down. And just feel how the forehead relaxes and lets go. I want you to soften the temples. Take your focus to your eyes. Inhale. Exhale, soften the eyes. We're not clenching them shut. They're very softly shut. Take your focus to the bridge of your nose. Inhale there. Exhale, let it go. Take your focus to the highest part of your cheekbones. Inhale. Exhale, soften that space. Stay there. Soften that space again. Shift your focus to the hollow of your cheeks. Inhale there. Exhale, relax. Hopefully starting to notice the whole face is relaxing, letting go, perhaps feeling heavy. I want you to soften the jaw. How do you do that? Well, you can let the mouth separate open slightly. Soften the tongue. Relax the ears. What if I said relax the inner ears? Now, without tensing a muscle at all in the face, slowly take your focus back to the third eye. If you feel like when you brought your eyes to gaze upwards, behind your closed eyelids, that the muscles in the forehead kicked in, re-soften them, do it again. Allowing yourself to almost sink within yourself. We're tuning and turning inward. You might even visualize that mirror we talked about completely surrounding you, so that all we see is our inner reflection. And as you fade away into Shavasana, I want you to consider what that inner reflection you see has to say. Begin to deepen your breath. And keeping the eyes closed, let's not be in a rush to reconnect with what we can see around us. Feeling that breath moving in and out. And then bringing some movement into the hands. And into the feet. Go ahead and stretch the arms overhead. You might feel like hugging the knees in towards the heart, perhaps. If you decided to bring the knees in, let's go ahead and set the feet down on the mat. You can either re-straighten your legs or take the feet wide and let the knees hold each other up. And then go ahead and cross your hands right over your heart. Strong inhale through the nose. Loud exhale. And then remembering that your Sanskrit word for the day, Pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. It's a practice ready for you. And you're ready to sit quietly. Another deep breath in. Another loud exhale. The light in me bows to the light in you. And when I'm in that place in me, and you're in that place in you, then we become one. Namaste. I'm unmuting some of you. Some of you I can unmute, some of you I cannot. Oh, there we go. Welcome back.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. There we go. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow.
You got it.
Is it a different code?
Is it what?
Is it a different code tomorrow?
No, I figured we were safe on that one because it's not a publicized event.
Okay.
It's not like on my Facebook or anything. So we should be good.
Okay.
I say that now.
I can
Thanks
kind of
again,
picture,
Yeah.
I can picture the kids that were doing that too. It's just terrible.
Yeah, right? Good.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
On